Hey, what's going on? It's Incomplete the Poet. The question was asked on one of my videos. Hey, Incomplete, I'm creating a piece for a public performance and have some ideas, but how do you create a framework or a flow for the ideas? Well, I'm happy you asked. One of the key things you have to do that's part of that framework is to know your audience, okay? Know if they're going to have a theme wherever you're going to perform. Know the average age that's going to be in your audience. And then you also want to know the length of time they are giving you or the length of time that they expect you to go. Because all that is part of constructing your flow and constructing the framework as well. Because once you get that down, then you can really stay within those boundaries, or you may have more boundaries to play with once you find that information out. And then after you do all that, you have to understand how to effectively poem storm, aka brainstorm. And basically what I do is that I just write ideas down. I may be just going to work, or I may be just hanging out with my friends, and a thought may come to me, an idea may come to me. I just get in my phone, I sometimes record it, or I sometimes just write it down, or I just text it to myself. And that way, when I'm sitting at the computer, or however you may write your poem, once you're sitting down, you can go ahead and recall all that information and really be able to dissect exactly the message you want to convey. Because nobody want to hear a poem that's just all over the place. It's good to have structure. And I'm happy you came to me, because I'm the guy that can give you that type of structure. Okay, now once you know how to effectively brainstorm, now we work on the framework. Okay, and now what is the framework? How do you even understand the framework? Well, once you know the theme, and once you know the idea, and once you know the concept of what you want to convey, now it's all about getting those ideas that you've been writing down, jotting down, even texting to yourself, and really just start writing. Just start typing. Whatever your process is, just start doing that, okay? That's a lot of times I may start off writing a poem, and I have an idea in my mind. I have a concept in my mind. I have a theme in my mind, and I'm writing. But what I'm writing has nothing to do with the theme, had nothing to do with the concept, had nothing to do with my notes, and I'm taking so far off left field. It's like, what did I do? But I can't get rid of the poem because the poem is so good. So then I have to refocus. I have to start back over and really drive those concepts, drive that theme, drive those points that I wrote to myself. Okay, and then once you do all that, and what you want to do is that you want to start writing, okay? And you're not really writing to make sense. It's just the first draft. What a lot of people do, okay, is that they expect the first time they write a poem to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. Some of the best writers have 6, 10, 15 drafts, okay? So as a poet, and the fact that the poem is so small, we should have 20, 30, 45 drafts, okay? Because we want to make sure that each word that we're using, each punctuation that we are giving it, it needs to be there, it deserves to be there, so our audience can definitely understand where we're coming from, okay? And then once you have that framework, and once you have that concept, now I always say, the first 2 lines have to get their attention. As I said in the video, the first 2 lines have to get their attention. If you don't get their attention in the first 5 to 8 seconds, then you lost them, okay? It's important that you get to their attention in that first 5 to 8 seconds, because it's critical. It's crucial. You have to do it, And then once you get their attention, then they are invested in you, because you are invested not only in them, but you invested into what you're saying as well. Okay, so how do you do the flow? Okay, now that flow is almost like a tone. It's almost like a rhythm. It's like a vibe. It's a feeling. It's something that you feel, and as you're writing, you may have a song in the back of your mind. You may have a melody that may be on your heart. You may have some type of feeling that you have inside. And that's so important when you are developing your flow, because what do you want your audience to feel? Do you want your audience to feel sad? And if you want your audience to feel sad, then you're going to say your poem slow. You're going to enunciate every word. Everything is over dramatic. You want to make sure that they hear you. They want to make sure that they see you. Every gesture is big. Okay? Almost like a musical or almost like a stage play, and the person is sitting way in the back. And the only way that they can see you is if every gesture is big. Okay? Now, that's how you work on that flow. Now, let's say that you want them to feel excited. So in order for them to feel excited, they have to hear your excitement. So now you're real up, you're upbeat, and you're bubbly, and everything is have a little exciting overtone to it. And gestures are faster, and you may drop some humor in there as well, Now, what if you want them to feel just deep and you want them to like really contemplate what you're saying? Then you're going to have these dramatic pauses, okay? And what I mean by dramatic pauses is that you're still going to talk slow, okay? But you're going to have these deliberate pauses so they can digest all that you're saying, that they can hear and it can marinate within their soul all that you're saying, okay? And in order for that to happen, you have to give it time to sit with them. I have made the big mistake by just rambling off my poem, and the people couldn't really understand me. They couldn't really hear me, and this was like back in the day when I first started. And then I realized that, okay, I want them to feel a certain way. I want a certain emotion to be conveyed. I want them to come to me and say, you know what, that poem made me feel, and that's that emotion, or that's how you want them to feel. So that's pretty much how you develop a framework, how you develop a flow. Now, also in one of my videos, I talk about a cadence. And a cadence and flow is almost like the same thing as well, as I was saying about having like a music in the background playing that you're writing to give you some type of pitch or some type of rhythm or some type of instrumental that inspires the words to come out even more so. And then the more you write, the more you put those words on paper. Don't be too concerned about it not being perfect, because that's the reason why we have 3, 13, 14 drafts, because we are going to get it right eventually, but you just want to get the thought out. That's the main purpose of just starting the first draft, is you just want to get the thoughts out. And once you get the thoughts out and you're done, and you think you're done, you just go ahead and just let it sit and go away from the poem, for like an hour or two, come back to it, read over it, and really ask yourself, how can I say this better? Or what word can I use that can take away this whole stanza? Okay? So it's just small nuances like that that can make you not only an effective writer, but also a great spoken word artist or a great poet as well, Now, as I do with all my videos, I'm going to leave you with a poem I was hired to do, okay? So I was hired to do a poem for a young lady. It was a couple of years ago, and she was single. And the reason why that's important is because she wanted to give herself a Valentine's Day present, She had recently broke up with her boyfriend, and she was feeling kind of down, and she wanted something that she can read constantly, every day even, that can inspire her, reassure her that love is still out there and love is on the way. Okay? So what she did was, I asked her to give me 10 things about herself that she wanted to see in the poem. Things that define who she is. So she gave me the 10 things, and I kind of slept on it on a day or two. And once I got to the computer, I really, based on the conversation I had with her, some of the things she'd been through, some of the things she told me that she was dealing with, And also, most importantly, the 10 things she gave me about herself, I sat down and I wrote a poem for her. And the poem is called Chocolate Rose. And I'm going to share that with you right now. My essence exemplifies love, the epitome of what was, what is. It's my presence that desire your affection. Each one of my petals contain my virtue. I'm a rose that was left unnurtured by a gardener of 7 years who resigned. In doing so, he left his chocolate rose behind, to be contaminated by weeds and other species. But just like the sunrise, I rise, never being deprived. I adapt to change, I metamorphosize. So when I say I'm a rose, it's just a metaphor, an anticipation of what you should be looking for. I'm not a dandelion, a daffodil, or a tulip. Respect this rose, or put your gardening tools up. I am who I am. A rose by any other name wouldn't be the same. At times I reminisce of my other gardener, thinking I was to blame. Maybe his green thumb couldn't keep up with my seasonal change. Whatever the reason, I can't look back. I'm looking for a gardener to uproot my heart, place me in his garden, and give me a fresh start. By romanticizing my petals and watering my soul, loving me unconditionally so my petals can unfold. A gardener who can accept me as a delicacy. I'm not looking for a friend with benefits, but rather the benefit of having a friend. Someone I can talk to and confide in. Someone who can love me without even trying. It's through my faith that I can patiently wait. Love lasts a lifetime, but memories you can't escape. My love grows warmer with every change of the season. When I finally blossom, love will be the reason. My gardener will soon come, because the Lord said he should. Then this will mark the spot where a chocolate rose once stood. And I gave her that poem, and she was just so delighted. And she didn't really know, like, how can you do that, you know? And it's just basically what I taught you today on how to poem storm, which is brainstorm, how to effectively create a framework, have ideas, just jot those ideas down. And the ideas don't have to be in no particular order, you know? And as you're writing, you're pulling these ideas that you already jotted down, you put it into the poem. Now, this particular poem, I did probably about 7 drafts. And when I thought I was done, when I thought it was perfect, when I thought it was stellar, I gave it to an individual, almost like a rival, okay? And the reason why I gave it to a rival is because I know they're going to find something wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? I know they're going to find something wrong with it, and that's what I want them to do. I want them to find something wrong with it. You know, and as I gave it to her, she took it and she looked at it, and when she gave it back to me, it was probably about 2 or 3 things that she said she would change. And once again, it's just their opinion. 2 or 3 things that they would change about it, and I did change those things, and it did make the poem even more better. So that made it an 8 draft. So don't be afraid to have multiple drafts, because at the end of the day, you want a perfect poem. That's what we're striving for, a perfect poem. Now, also, if you look on some of my other videos, I teach you how to memorize, how to express, how to articulate, how to really give your poem the accent that it needs, you know, and things such as that. So, once again, thank you for viewing this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. You know, I'm on Facebook as well under Incomplete the Poet. You can find me there, and I thank you for finding me on YouTube. You know, and if you have any questions, please, by all means, drop me a line, and I will, you know, not only will I respond to you, I forgot what I was saying. Not only would I respond to you via YouTube, but, you know, if I haven't really touched on that issue, I also do a video blog for it, you know, as well. So once again, this is Incomplete the Poet. We was just going over how to create a framework, how to create a flow, and I hope you learned something. I'll see you next time.